Hello everyone, I am Malaceo and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, please like and subscribe. I'm trying to at least get monetized before the end of this year, at least, okay? So that's just part of my New Year's resolution for this year, so help a girl out. So I'm pretty much gonna be talking about week 2 of being in Vietnam and doing my recap. So essentially, when I first went down there, it was maybe 2 days or so when I got down there at first. I got to my hotel, it was fine. The accommodations were fine and everything, but I feel like for the most part, definitely for the price, it was good. For the location, it was good. It was great. I was literally in the ancient city / old city area where I didn't have to walk too far away, because I know a lot of the other ladies from Exodus Summit, they were more out in the country in the Riceville area. So, they wanted to ride bikes and sort of, chillax and everything. And it was my second week of actually being gone from the States, and I still had all that energy where I wanted to sort of walk around, especially when I said in my last video, I believe, taking more pictures and photos of just structures and architecture, and sort of trying to understand what do I like, what am I looking for in photos and stuff like that. So it's sort of to help me sort of train my eye and also, explore and things like that. So like I said, back to the hotel wasn't necessarily, it was two things. It was, the bathroom was still fine. It's just that when you're super clean and you feel like, you feel like it might have dark areas, it's not mold, but it's dark areas after a while. And especially when you have, when it's white in between the tiles and things like that, you just wanted to be able to, I feel like, the grout needs to be sealed and things like that. And, it's just a pet peeve of mine. But I didn't want to touch anything in the shower. Like I said, it wasn't dirty. It's just in my head, I can't, get past it. So that was that. And I think because of the grout, I believe why the grout was like that. I believe it was like that because the humidity in the room itself was always high. And even with the air con, there was nothing available to dehumidify the space. So even when I laid down, especially I didn't really use my satin pillowcase pretty much during the duration of me being there, because when I put my face down or laid my head down, if any of my skin touched the satin pillowcase, it felt like it was wet. So I never experienced that before, but I could tell you I don't like it. So it was that, and a thing that was not necessarily the hotel's fault at all, but it was the worst experience to deal with, is that they had guests there, and I guess the rooms weren't necessarily soundproof on the inside, the hallways. They was soundproof for outside coming in, but from inside, how the doors and all that stuff was made. When I say these people were yelling at the top of their freaking lungs, and it was a whole family of them. And I swear to goodness, it was just, and I swear to goodness, it took them an hour to leave their room. So they're sitting there just yelling at them. Even when they came back in, it's just they're not arguing or anything. It's just how loud they was talking. Me being asleep. And I know there was another guest that came outside and I heard them. That was you're so loud. They said it in English, but there was you're so loud. And I mean, there was some people from, upstairs and stuff, and they say no, they could hear them too. So yeah, that was my main thing. And it happened 4 or 5 days, I believe, in a row. And I was there for 10 days. So half my time there, I abruptly woken up and couldn't be able to go back to sleep. So that's that. So pretty much when I went on this food tour, I really liked it. And it you know, I feel like they need to be a local to some extent because they have the passion. You know, a lot of times, like, even if you know the dates of stuff or whatever, like, you can feel the passion that comes like from it, and they suggest to you, and like they sort of eat with you, like, you know, like your friends. So I really did like that. I went to a place where they made like a white lotus dumpling, and then like their variations of dumplings that they have, especially in Hoi An. So I really did like that experience. Got to meet like local people, got to meet like some of her friends and stuff like that. So it was really, really nice, you know. So everybody knows, I feel like for the most part, if you know me, yellow is my favorite color. A lot of their architecture, especially like closer to the river, closer to the ancient part where they did all the trading and everything, the buildings are like yellow. So I definitely was taking pictures, try to work on understanding angles and how to take like a beautiful photo and not just take a picture, take a photo, like tell a story, to try to home in on, you know, lines and functions and place and certain things that's built with the architecture on the outside that's influencing the inside. Like there was one where it was like sort of like open ventilation to like the bathroom or like the hallways and stuff, that was like, you know, how they built it on the outside. It helped with ventilation on the inside. So it's just like certain things like that that I felt like every place has it and it's very unique. Architecture, infrastructure is very unique to wherever you go. And, you know, you don't necessarily have to go that far from wherever you're at, just in general, to start to see different architecture and different interior design and different infrastructure as a whole. Also, definitely had the dinner and I met the ladies, and it was so nice. And when I say this part here, it's like when I say it was weird, it's like weird in the best way possible. So let me explain. So there's been people that told me like, I feel like I met you before. I feel like I've seen you before. Like, are you sure you wasn't on this channel? Like obviously I just started. So I'm like, no, I have not been on any. They was like, no, I could have swore I seen you in South Africa. I'm like, no. Even when I seen Rashida on her videos, but to see her in person, and it's like her personality, her vibe, she reminds me of my aunt. And I was like, you remind me of my aunt Shanta. I'm like, she's like, okay, I'm your auntie now. It was just how nice, and like just the vibe and everybody. Some people talking about them like, you know, quitting, and they're quitting excursions and them getting ready to, you know, them leaving or them getting ready to leave, or they've been traveling for a few years on and off and they still go back to the States to work. And it was so nice to be at the table where everybody got good news. It was so nice to be at a table where everybody had good news. So that's one of the things where I felt like, you know, even at the table, I felt like I'm not going to do it. But I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I'm more prone to crying out of happiness versus crying out of like sadness. If anything, I cry out of frustration. But, you know, frustration and anger. But like, I was so happy in the moment. And even when people, you know, asked me, you know, we went around the table, but people asked me like, hey, like, you know, what's your story? Why are you here? This, that, and the other, and like all these other things. And the fact that people cared and they wanted to hear, and being able to touch base with people and talk to people, and it was really nice. Like being, like I said, talking, engaging, you know, eating with each other. Like I met a couple of women like right off the bat from Georgia. So, and I'm like from Georgia, okay? Now, it was so nice. It was so beautiful. We had packed like the entire restaurant, you know, and
so far. You made a lot of effort to come here for this, right? For this time together. Thank you for that. This has been already an amazing evening. We're not saying it's over. We're just acknowledging it, okay? Then no, you ain't got to go nowhere. We have this place for the night, okay? But this has already been an amazing evening, and it's because of each and every one of you. You make it so wonderful. You make this a place, a gathering that we want to come to, that women want to travel days and days and days to get to. That's because of you, each and every one of you. Thank you for that. We don't take that lightly. We know that this has been a really relaxed, or is continuing to be a really relaxed time together. We hope that you spend your time in Vietnam and in Southeast Asia doing some resting, doing some healing, doing some friend making and some connection building, some relationship growing, right? But mostly take this time to be you, find a version that you love. I stayed in a house that you can see from the front of this studio. I stayed here for a month, and I really liked the person that I was here. And I wanted to come back to her, and I invited you all to come with me. Thank you for saying this. Thank you for that. Exodus Summit is a community, it's a collective, it's a group, it's you. We love being here with you. You're going to do a whole lot of stuff over the next few days. Weeks together, alone, separately, with us. Let us know in the community what you're doing if you want somebody to come with you. Thank you, Crystal Turner. Woo! For the WhatsApp group. Yes. Crystal Howard. I'm sorry. Thank you, Crystal Howard. Thank you for that. And thank you all for being here and for being here. We love you dearly. We love you.
Oh yeah. So it was this cafe, and I wanted to try to feature, cafes or like food and stuff like that. So it's this one cafe in particular, right? And girl, it was so cute. I don't know if like the coffee and like the pastry type situation that was happening was so bougie that it was like above me, but I didn't necessarily like it. Like I'll go there again for the aesthetic, but I will probably order something different from the menu, if you get what I mean. But I will also, like I said, I'll put pictures in, but they had pretty much like this very old, worn concrete look to the walls, but then they had like the chandeliers and like the velvet pink sofas, and how it was airy, it was like nice and spacious, and you had like the little sections and stuff like that. Even in the back, just looking at it from certain angles, like it was so dynamic. And even when I was taking pictures, it was like, oh, give us a review and blah 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 and all this other stuff, and I was like, okay, I'll do that. And being able to like, I guess, put the pictures up, but just, I feel like it's also helping my eye. And I feel like me not having as much stress as I had on me makes it easier for me to have an eye and to be creative and to see something and be like, oh, that would be a good picture. Like it's starting to, it, even with me actually taking pictures, it also helps with my sight lines and things like that when I'm doing interior design and stuff like that. So I am very much, how do I say it? I'm very much inspired, but I am most likely going to do some type of like my version of maybe like a Vietnamese interior design, like condo or something like that. And I think that will be like really fun and really cute. So stay tuned for that. It'll be on my other channel, Malaceo Interiors, Home Decor. So yeah, so that's all I had for this week, and I will see you guys for the next week, okay?